Rek'Sai top, a champion that can easily reach enemies who might thought that they escaped with her ultimate. Create a tunnel system that can be used for unexpected engages or as an escape route during enemy ganks. And win every trade by out-sustaining the enemy top laner, which is achieved by just farming the wave. Even after the laning phase, the dominance of Rek'Sai top won't fade away, becoming a 1v1 monster that can easily split push thanks to these escaping tools. A simple champion which can be played decently after a few games, and by using the following tricks, you can dominate every game with Rek'Sai top. As soon as she leaves the base, this mole is going to buy a Doran's Blade and a health potion, and head directly towards the lane. The first skill point should be invested into the Q spell, which empowers her next 3 auto attacks by spinning around. But since level 1 is Rek'Sai's weakest state of the game, you shouldn't look out for a fight. Your main priority should be clearing the wave and trade against your opponent alongside the minions. Clear the wave by auto attacking it and use the Q spell as an auto attack reset. The spinning part deals AoE damage, which allows you to clear the wave faster and use it to damage the enemy top laner alongside. But the main goals with the ability would be to utilize the push priority. As soon as Rek'Sai hit level 2, the W spell is unlocked, allowing her to dig under the ground. At this form, the Q spell is changed and it becomes a missile with a huge range that can be used as a poking tool, a spell to secure cannon or even remove bone plating. At the same time, her vision declines, but she gains a bit movement speed in order to stay safe, since we still don't want to fight at this stage of the game yet. At level 3, this monster is at the peak of her power. Now she unlocks her E-spell, which is a point-and-click ability that deals some decent damage, and during her buried form she creates a tunnel that can be used as an engage tool. This is the first moment in game where Rek'Sai can go in for a trade. With her Q spell she can auto-attack the wave in order to gain some fury and bury under the ground. This allows her to engage on her laning opponent with the tunnel and by clicking on the enemy while still being below them. Rek'Sai knocks up the enemy, giving her some time to hit them with the Q spell, which should be up again thanks to the low cooldown, and finish the combo with the E spell. The bite damage is doubled and converts into true damage when the fury is at its maximum, being the main reason why you should use it at the end of your combo, and with ignite, it should be a safe kill. The downside of these trades with this champion is that she has to go into close combat and loses a lot of HP by doing so. And against some top laners you will probably lose some of these trades and you have to back off with your tunnel. Well, it might look like Rek'Sai lost these fights, but in reality this is exactly what we want. Thanks to her fury and the W spell, she has unlimited sustain. As soon as the mole lost a trade, she backs off and tries to restore some HP by gaining some fury. That can be achieved by just farming the minions with her abilities or auto attacks. By just hitting 4 of them, her fury is maxed and Rek'Sai can move on towards the healing part. Just press the W spell, which forces her to go under the ground, and activate the passive healing for 3 seconds. When the fury is consumed, just repeat the process until Rek'Sai is full health. And watch your laning opponent struggle, still being half life, which allows you to go in again and collect a kill, and when they somehow escape with 5 HP, you can easily secure it by using the missile or ignite, which should be Rek'Sai's go-to summoner spell due to the fact that stuff like TP is useless on her, due to the fact that she can just tunnel back to lane, creating a railroad which can be extended every time she comes out of base. And since a single tunnel lasts for 10 minutes, it can be used during the whole laning phase. The same can be done on the lane to have some escape routes. For example, when you get a surprise visit from the enemy jungler, Rek'Sai can easily slip away through her holes which she prepared before and create a tunnel system. But that's not her only tool to escape ganks thanks to her warning system. As long as she stays under the ground, Rek'Sai can see these circles when there is something moving around in that area, making it possible to see the jungler even without putting a ward into a bush, and retreat through one of you tunnels. When the enemy tries to destroy one of them, the monster can just travel through and shock them with a sudden engage. At this kind of scenario, Rek'Sai still has one remaining tunnel in her pocket which can now be used to chase the enemy down. But most of the time, especially during the laning phase, a majority of top laners survive Rek'Sai's engage and get away with it while having an HP bar smaller than mine. That problem can finally be solved right at the moment when this Hole Digger unlocks her ultimate, which is basically a point-and-click spell with a huge range that deals some souling damage. But be aware that Rek'Sai can only use it on targets that has been marked with her passive, which she automatically does by damaging them. Unfortunately, that thing fades away after 5 seconds. Luckily, Rek'Sai has the perfect tool to mark them again. Her Q missile during her buried form allows her to deal some damage from a far distance, so they might thought they got rid of you, but no. A really great tool that can be used as a gap closer to finish off people thanks to its missing health damage, and a solid tool to dodge enemy abilities, since Rek'Sai becomes untargetable for 1.5 seconds after casting the ultimate, so the 1v1 strength of this champion is unmatched. With Stridebreaker, this champion has a tool to slow the enemy and thus prevent him from escaping, forcing them to fight a monster that can just dodge your main damage ability by ulting you. And with an item like Hullbreaker, Rek'Sai even becomes stronger when there are no teammates around her, and it also buffs the damage of the cannon minion by 200% against structures. That's why we are going to avoid teamfights after the laning phase and focus more on split pushing, where it is more likely to have 1v1 fights. After all, Rek'Sai isn't a bad split pusher when you take a second look. Let's start with the obvious one. After the laning phase, she can start building a tunnel system inside the enemy jungle and create a railroad where she can easily escape out of a dangerous situation. The other strength would be her capability to spam the Q spell. At max level, this ability only has a cooldown of 2 seconds, so you can spam it the whole time, dealing AoE damage and clear the minion wave in an instant. You can even damage the wave when Rek'Sai hits the turret with the Q spell, turning her into a decent split pusher. And her strengths in a 1v1 fight are unmatched since she can just dodge key abilities with her ultimate, making the enemy think that this fight is close while in reality he is already in Rek'Sai's execution range. But sometimes you are forced to join teamfights when your allies suddenly start an unnecessary confrontation on the mid lane. In that case, Rek'Sai has one specific task to fulfill: going in, one-shotting the enemy hyper carry and get out of this pile alive. This is the only way to be useful in a teamfight as Rek'Sai, since the majority of her spells deal single target damage and thus useless in this scenario. But what if you can't go for an assassination attempt? Well, in that case, Rek'Sai should play for knockups in order to make some catches that her teammates can wipe out in a matter of seconds, or use it as a tool to peel for his own carry since the knockup can interrupt enemy engages. But the best case scenario would be hiding inside bushes and one-shot some opponents in order to get a number advantage at the next objective fights, or split push the whole game. Here are the build and runes for Rek'Sai top. And if you are looking for a lane-dominant top laner that can't be reached by his opponents thanks to her spells, gaining an infinite amount of HP thanks to Grasp and Heartsteel, poking the enemy down while being a monster that can't be killed, click on this video right here.